that we have our quilt top finished, we have the top. We can still see some of my basting stitches. It is quilted. It is actually machine stitched around the edge. I guess I'm not as good as drawing a straight line with a machine as I am with my hands. So anyway, we've got that done. We made our binding in a previous video. And right now, I'm just laying it out. What you're going to do with your binding is just open it up, lay it out, and make sure it's going in a straight line, because sometimes it's not always perfectly straight. So you're going to do your best to line this up so that it's in a straight line and goes all the way down the edge. So see right here, I think that's probably not as straight, but I'm going to make sure that my stitching line is straight. You can also see from the quilt if it's staying about the same distance from your stitches. So I think I'm going to move this one up a little because I can see that it's about 1/4 of an inch between my edge here on all of these. So yeah, I'm going to move this binding up just a tiny bit while making sure that it still looks like a straight line. Okay, once you get it pinned along the first side, you need to know where to stop sewing on this side. So I've got it following all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and put one pin in here, kind of towards the end. And then what you need to do is you need to fold it at this corner. Takes a little bit of work. So that these lines are running straight. So right here, you can see that crease, and this is the center. That is where I'm going to stop my sewing machine. That is exactly where I'm going to stop, is right there at that point. So let me go ahead and stitch down this seam right here. You see there's a small indentation, and then we'll go to our next step. Okay, so now I have it actually stitched down all along one side, and I stopped right where I said I would. So what I'm going to do next is I need to open this binding up a little, fold it up so that these lines run straight. So this is my next corner, or this is my point that I need. So I'm going to hold that down, and then I'm going to straighten this out. I don't know if you can see through the fabric, but it's making a point right there. Now, I'm not going to sew into the other fabric of the binding, but I'm going to put a pin right there in front of it, because that right there is going to be what creates the mitered corner when we open it back up. So go ahead and pin until you get to your very next corner, and then do the same thing there. So you'll stitch until you get to your next corner, and then you'll stop where that needs to stop. Okay, you can see I've got my binding attached almost all the way. I've left a big tail out each end. And let me just show you how to attach the binding very simply. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold this loose end back on itself and make a 45-degree angle. Do you see that there? So I'm actually going to mark that 45-degree angle with my blue pen. You see that there? And then I'm going to come here and make sure this is laying down smoothly against this side. And I can kind of see that blue, but we're not going to do it that way. we are going to fold this up to exactly where that is. Finger press it, mark it, however you want to do it. Fold this up. Now what's going to happen now, you're going to pin these together. I'm going to do some just kind of rough pins here real quick. You want to keep it lined up really well. So there, I've got that corner now. I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to stitch from one end of the blue line to the other end of the blue line. Now I have both pieces stitched along the blue line, and I can lay it out and see, does this feel like it's the right size? Does it feel like it's going to go along there nicely? And right here it does look perfect to me. So what I'd like to do now is just cut a seam allowance on the outside of these basting stitches. And you can see when you fold it back, finger press this part open. But when you fold it back, you can see it's going to fit just perfectly onto the edge. So we'll open it up and do that stitch line. Okay, now that I have this stitched down, I'm just going to go around my whole quilt and start pinning to the back side. And then once I get the whole quilt pinned to the back side, I'm just going to do a little stitch along the back and hold it in place, and then it will be finished. I hope you guys like this. Please subscribe. Please find me on my Facebook channel. I can't wait to see everything that you guys are creating. Thanks so much for joining me, and happy sewing.